Always Listening. It's coming out March 2nd. I'd love for you to pre-order it. You can go to yourbrainisaliwayslistening.com, and if you pre-order it, I have 4 gifts for you, including a free coupon for a bottle of Happy Saffron, one of my very favorite supplements, probably my favorite supplement. So, anyways, if you want to know about your dragons, just today we released the Know Your Dragons quiz. So go to knowyourdragons.com and find out which of the dragon thunder you have. Right? Most of us have more than one. I have the abandoned, invisible, and insignificant dragon, the inferior and flawed dragon, the anxious dragon, the responsible dragon. Tana actually has 10 of the 13 dragons. All right, so for each of the dragons, we talk about their origin story or how they came about. And for the anxious dragon, it's written in your genes that there's a genetic component, because when we were made or we were evolved, there was an anxious time, and you needed some anxiety so that you saved for winter, so that you weren't eaten, so that you got along with other people, so that you could work together in a group. So just know some anxiety is normal, but the dragon comes out when you felt the world was dangerous or unpredictable, or you were afraid, or you had a scary childhood, or you had undependable caregivers. For me, when I was a child, my brother beat me up virtually every day from what I remember, and I have the home movies to prove it. But what was really hard is I had enuresis when I was a child. That meant I wet my bed. I mean, it's not something I really want to talk about, but every morning until I was like 10, I would wake up in a panic because you just never knew if the bed was going to be wet. So I'm actually also a child psychiatrist, and as a child psychiatrist, I have great empathy for the kids and for the parents. And my mom never shamed me. I shame myself because I hated it. And so what it did is set my nervous system up to be busier, because I never knew when something bad was going to happen. And so that caused this anxious dragon to roar to life. And I remember as a child, I used to bite my nails and pick at my scabs. And I mean, I had sort of the outward expression of anxiety. And I remember the first time I gave a professional lecture, I was holding notes and they would just shake. It was so irritating. So much better that I just know what I'm going to tell you about and just tell you about it. So what triggers the anxious dragon? Anything that reminds you of past fears and anxiety. So, and currently, the pandemic. And currently, the news. And currently, societal unrest, the political divide. All of these things are just feeding the anxious dragon. And how does the anxious dragon cause people to react? They have panic attacks, fears, phobias. They tend to predict the worst. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. Nervousness, insomnia, headaches, trouble breathing, worrying about safety. So if you have any of those things, then you know that the anxious dragon is still breathing fire on your emotional brain. So how do we tame this? So if there were anxious times when you were growing up, it resets your limbic brain your emotional brain, so think of the basal ganglia and the amygdala and the hippocampus working too hard, we want to calm them down. So how do you reset it? One of the best things I do is something called diaphragmatic breathing. And if you take twice as long to breathe out as you breathe in, it actually begins to trigger an automatic relaxation response. So I'll take 3 or 4 seconds to breathe in, hold it for a second, take 6 to 8 seconds to breathe out. Repeat that 10 times. All of my patients that do that find relief in decreasing the anxiety. It can just help you so much. Meditation. I'm a huge fan of meditation. I'm actually going to give you an anxious dragon meditation in just a minute. Hypnosis, huge fan. If you've never been hypnotized, on our website, Brain Fit Life, I have hypnosis audios. It's, and I told you when I was younger, I suffered with anxiety. So when I was a young psychiatrist, I learned how to do it, and I just loved it because I think it calmed down some of my own anxiety. You can also use your 5 senses to calm anxiety. So lavender has been shown to help with anxiety. Calming music. We have a new album coming out in March called Your Brain is Always Listening. Brain enhancing music that I just dearly love. Certain tastes like nutmeg can have anti-anxiety effects. Massage can work really well as well. So all of the dragons in the book, I talk about what movies they might like. The anxious dragon hates horror movies, but they tend to love funny, uplifting movies that just cause them to feel happy and relaxed. Movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, Chef, Big. My favorite, Torture My Family with it, Disney's Pollyanna. I wish Disney would do a movie version of Pollyanna. I just think it is so great. So the meditation for the anxious dragon, repeat this every day. I am safe. I am secure. I am calm. I am protected. I focus on my breathing and centering myself. I am safe. I am secure. I am calm. I am protected. I focus on my breathing and centering myself. If you get nothing out of this, if you have the anxious dragon, focusing on diaphragmatic breathing will help you so much. And then, of course, you want to learn how to kill the ants. There's a whole chapter in the new book on how to get control of your mind by killing the ants, the automatic negative thoughts that steal your happiness. And the anxious dragon's most is a fortune-telling thought, where you're predicting that things are going to turn out badly, even though you don't have evidence for that. And the only people who should be predicting the worst are contract lawyers. Other than that, you want to focus on what's right rather than on what's wrong. You can get a copy of my new book, Your Brain is Always Listening, coming out March 2nd at yourbrainisalwayslistening.com. On February 9th, I'm going to go live for 90 minutes on YouTube. And you can sign up. They're limited seats at yourbrainisalwayslistening.com/event. You can learn about what dragons you have at knowyourdragons.com. And, I'm going to be on a lot over the next 2 months because we have about 50 some dragons to get through. We're going to talk about the 13 dragons from the past, and then we're going to talk about the they, them, and other dragons, how other people influence your brain. We're then going to talk about bad habit dragons. You don't have to give in to your automatic responses. I'm going to teach you how to change that. We'll talk about the addicted dragons. I'm going to give you a brand new 12-step program based in neuroscience. You know, AA's 12-step program was published first in 1939. So, it's 82 years ago. They didn't have neuroscience really principles then. I'm going to give you a new 12-step program. And then we're going to talk about the scheming dragons, how our society is really stealing the mind and the health of our brain. I hope you find this helpful. I'll talk to you soon.